Test. Go. Cue. Test. Go. Cue.
I have some new tour dates to tell you about.
People treat me differently. They don't see me sexually. Like, even though sometimes I do want to be seen that way, but I don't think about it much anymore. But yeah, I used to feel that way all the time. But now I feel like I relate to men sometimes more than women and enjoy. Yeah, I feel that way. I have a nervousness around men like that I think fell away when I started doing comedy because I just felt like, oh, I'm one of the boys now. Like, men don't treat me differently. They don't see me sexually. Like, even though sometimes I do want to be seen that way, but I don't think about it much anymore. Yeah, I feel that way. I have a nervousness around men like that. But yeah, I used to feel that way all the time. But now I feel like I relate to men sometimes more than women and enjoy having conversations because I feel like I pull out like a feminine energy from men that I like that they don't get to express a lot. Like I like when the guy I'm dating has women friends because he gets to like release some emotion that doesn't have to come out on me. I don't have to be the only place for that because he doesn't feel safe doing it to me because it's not sexy.
Right.
But he can do it with his girlfriends that there's no sexual vibe, so he can get Because women are asking,
And if
like,
it's a
how are
big
you?
lesbian friend too, you could cry on a lesbian.
Oh, you absolutely.
I mean,
I can't because it gets sexual.
Yeah.
But a man can cry on a lesbian. Like, they get a little too comforting to me when I cry.
There should be like a place like in nature or on, I'm not going to say like street corners or whatever, but where there is a devout lesbian who is, totally has gone through whatever the steps are to be a lesbian and is there to take the journey off of a man to just shoulder some of the burden, because a lot of men didn't get either one of their parents because one of their parents was gone because of divorce, and then the other parent because of that had to work. So a lesbian, a tough lesbian too, not one of these little Las Vegas nightly rental lesbians. I'm talking about a real fucking oatmeal eating lesbian.
Do you ever feel though that lesbians like have no use for you because you're a man?
Oh yeah, dude.
Like that they're just like, get the fuck out of here. I don't need to deal with this shit.
Yeah, we're the ugly women, the lesbians. That's what a man is. You're the ugly. You just.
How does an ugly woman feel? Because the lesbians aren't going after her either. So that's an ugly woman is an ugly woman to everyone.
Oh damn!
Shit. Fuck. That's why it's so important to stay. Like hot. You feel like no one wants you.
Really, you think that?
Yeah, I think it's yeah. Is an ugly man acceptable to anyone? I think there's certain like gay
Yeah,
guys that
gamers.
are into.
No, I'm joking, dude. These days, first of all, everybody looks pretty good these days. Can we say that?
Well, if you have money, there's no reason you better look good. But like it's expected.
Right. But even the government is like buying people teeth and phones, phone cards. It's like I feel like everybody kind of almost looks the same now, really.
Yeah, I agree.
Everybody's about like an 8, and then you have some people
That's so true.
or I don't know, there's definitely some people that are 10s, but everybody's kind of like an 8 or 7.
But the 10s were like born 10s, and you can't like buy. You can buy a 9.
Yeah.
You can't buy a 10. Mm-hmm. Like when that's just like you see a model and they're just like an alien.
Only,
like they're very rare though. They're probably more rare than psychopaths or something. I mean, percentage wise.
Yeah, only God makes 10s, huh?
Yeah, that's a good. Yeah, a doctor can't. They try. They can get like 9.2.
Yeah, they can get.
You can a good one, but even it's hard to find a doctor that can do that kind of work.
Yeah.
No, it's Dr. God.
Dr. God, baby, God luck.
Yeah. But yeah, there's no like. You can just, that's the pressure though, is like sometimes when I feel like, oh, you don't look as good as you could look, like I always want to reach my potential, right?
Ooh, now that's a good point.
Now my potential with if enough money is 9.2. Like I just said, like I can find a person to make me a 9.2 and I'm not a 9.2, but there is surgery. There's a right person out there that can transform my face and my body into that's as high as I could get. And I'm not reaching it. And so I just go, I'm failing in some way. And my friends who don't have money go, I'm just the way I am because I can't afford to do that, but I could maybe afford to do that. So I feel like I need to do that.
You gonna risk it?
Yeah, I mean, I do stuff already. I get like injections and stuff here and there, and I'm not like, I don't do it a lot, but every couple of years I get insecure enough that I'm like, let's just see what we're gonna do. And I like the risk of it. It's like getting a tattoo. It's like it can be bad. A haircut, like I can get it dissolved or what. I could turn it back around. But it is when women have face work or men and it kind of gets fucked up. I sometimes go, "Good for you. You took a fucking chance."
That's a good point, huh? Yeah, you're a risk taker. You are
the ultimate.
You're somebody that reached in the draft. You are Sean Payton of the Denver Broncos.
Yes.
In reconstructive surgery realm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you definitely see. Well,
Hey Evan, how long do you typically spend on site? Good question. So I almost always do either a half day shoot or a full day shoot. So it's either like midday till dusk or sunrise till sunset, which I much prefer. I reckon 70% of my shoots now are 70% of my shoots now are full day, which is the preference. And yeah, pretty much I frame up the composition, whatever it's going to be, and then I go into the scene and start manipulating it and playing with it. But most of the time these days I get pretty well presented houses, so it's more an exercise in it's way more of an exercise in making sure like things aren't overlapping and things aren't blocking features and stuff like that. So I don't have to do a huge amount of creative sort of staging and styling. It's more just sort of taking what's there and then making sure that nothing's obstructing something else or stealing all of the attention away. But admittedly I am pretty slow. Like I'll frame up and then it'll take me a little bit to to actually finalize it, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? Spend the whole day for the best light. Yeah, that part's also true. Like I might get to the facade, for example, or like a particular room and go to shoot it and go, oh no, this is obviously going to look way better later in the day. So yeah. And just FYI, right now I'm not doing like a full edit of a project. I wouldn't normally hit auto. This is just for a proof, so for the client to make their selections. So I'm happy to just sort of hit auto, just so that they can see all the detail and all the shadows in each of the frame and all that sort of fun stuff.
Well, sometimes I'll kiss a woman and her lip tastes like a part of, like it's like a yeah, it tastes like something you would throw to a dog to catch, kind of like it just like feels like a chew toy
thing. Yes.
So it doesn't feel like you're kissing them anymore. It just feels like you just want to.
Oh, you can feel filler for sure. I don't have it in my lips, but I got it just like recently down here, which for some reason makes this go up. Like it's all like I don't even know how it works. But I don't like all the, like I got something here, I've never gotten it before, but I can feel it. Like I don't, whenever I'm like, going like this, like, I'm like, oh God, because you feel weird pressing on it. It's not a good feeling.
I get some like on the back of my legs, bottom of my butt, maybe just to make me a little taller, like when I'm in a seat or whatever.
It would. That is a way to get taller. Yeah, sitting only.
Yeah, you're sitting down a lot. Nobody thinks about that.
Holy shit, of course you would.
Sitting tall. You're like, yeah, I'm not that tall when I'm standing up, but when I'm sitting, I'm a little taller than you'd expect.
I mean, are you good on your posture? Like, are you working on that?
Fuck no, dude. Yeah, I was working on it, dude, until I quit working on it.
I mean, like, when you're conscious of it, when I sit the way I'm supposed to, with my shoulder blades down, my neck extended, and my back, like, this is a good look. I know this is gonna look better than what I really want to do, which is this.
Yeah.
Armadillo.
But this feels like I'm going to meet some dude's going to try to meet me, I feel like, all the time.
Yeah,
As a guy.
You're waiting for a grinder date.
Or you're waiting, you're hoping they pick you to go on the Mayflower or something. Like, it has a very, if your posture.
Alert, ready.
Yes.
Pick me.
Yeah.
Yeah, pick me.
That's what it feels like. Pick me.
Yeah. But for a girl, in a way, she can sit in a way that is just like, I have confidence. Like, there's a way to sit that's like exudes sexuality for sure.
Well, yeah. Oh, definitely. For a woman?
Yeah, to like just like I don't even know how to contort my body in that way, but I know that when I am trying to look sexy, my back hurts afterwards. Yeah. Because I've been holding this arch back. It's not healthy, like it's not good, but some girls just walk around naturally like that.
Oh yeah. People from Toronto have the best posture. I don't know if you've been there or not. Have you been there?
Oh, yes. And it kind of checks out in my memory, but
they're like,
wait, why? Maybe they're school desks? Because that's what breaks us.
It could be like I don't know how gravity is up there or something, but it's definitely they are very, they look very on purpose. They look very on purpose.
Okay. Yeah.
Like a lot of people like wander around like, oh, look at this fucking accident.
Yes. Toronto.
Yeah, dude.
But it's not an intimidating on purpose. Like Toronto, they're like, I always say it wrong. Toronto, not Toronto.
I think you can call it whatever you want to. They're just happy you came to visit. I think.
Really are.
Yeah.
And they should be. It's a bitch getting there.
Well, and it's like a lot of people didn't even think Canada was real for a long time. Like we had to discover it like 7 times before people were like, yes, okay. We'll admit it that you're real.
Is that the history of that? I don't really know how.
Yeah.
I mean.
100%, dude. Canada, dude. Yeah, a lot of people are like, I don't know, man. Yeah, we'll see about it. That's what you see a lot of
Every time I
times.
go there, don't you feel like they are like Air Canada? You fly there, they're mad at you when you're flying them. I just don't like flying Air Canada. And then when I get there, the customs feels so aggressive that I'm just like,
they don't like us.
Are
they
you
don't
happy
want
I'm
us.
here? No, they're not. Yeah,
that's the real truth. I think you're right.
And then once you get in, though, the people love you. People are always like, "Why don't you come?" And I'm like, "It's your border control. It makes me feel like a criminal and makes me feel like, why are you here?"
Well, we kind of have become that. I mean, America's a criminal state obsessed with capitalism that has sacrificed everything that was good.
Yeah.
To make a couple bucks. So I get why they're tapping us on the shoulder a little extra over there on the way in.
Yeah.
I get it. They don't want that energy.
Need that.
They don't want that semen in their country.
They're not looking to be famous and cool. No. Like they don't have that sad desire. And sad is, just a word I use for that. But it's like
we have some kind of desperation here. It feels like. Yeah. Does that make any sense or no?
Totally. I'm fighting it all the time because I'm a part of it and I feed into it and it gets me, but I also am so disgusted by it when I can't like go shopping because of consumerism really stresses me out, and thinking about all of these. When I go shopping, I just like look at all the racks of clothes and I'm like, this is all going to be in a landfill. This is all going to be in the ocean. Like that, it grosses me out, but I'm also buying that stuff. They're just shipping it to me so I don't have to see it in mass amounts and think about that. But so I'm on both sides of it. But yeah, it's a bitch.
It's interesting. Well, the question everybody wants to know is, how's that vagina doing, huh?
It's pretty good.
That's what's up.
Yeah, that's what's up. It's like right now. It's like a good day. Like do you have like good and bad days down there?
Good wiener days, kinda?
Like where you're just like, I wouldn't mind if someone saw it. Like.
Documentation for it. So
no one
reading through there because I was trying to see since
institutions that will maintain a permanent connection to your empire, to the metropole,
like through trade, that's colonialism, or
through trade, through political institutions, through political ideologies. I mean, you have liberté, égalité, fraternité outside of Syrian government buildings. I mean, the idea was to assimilate people into your empire and then spin them off as semi-independent, but connected to it. And again, the same way that, say, most of West Africa is still connected to France to the present day. It was intended to create those kind of neo-imperial links after decades of direct control. So it's trying to you need the decades of direct control, and initially because none of these areas made sense as countries. They were all slapped together. I mean, the regions of Iraq had nothing to do with one another until Britain slapped them all together and made Iraq out of it. So you've got to like build institutions commonly throughout the area that are in your interest and then retreat from that. That's the goal there. And the British intended to use Zionist migrants to create a Europeanized loyal population to help them to acculturate the rest of the country to working within the context of the British imperialism. But
why didn't they just support that all the way?
An Arab state of Palestine that would have a Jewish minority.
Why didn't they just push that then over any Palestinian autonomy in the region? Then I don't understand. Why wouldn't they just continue to support Jews all the way up through 48?
Well, the main reason they didn't support anybody at that point is because they had been dealing with 15 years of consistent terror attacks, oftentimes by Zionists, but also by Palestinians attacking them and trying to get rid of them.
Well, wait, hold on, wait, real quick. Who did most of the terrorist attacks?
Well, there were a ton of like Zionist terrorist attacks, against British targets as well as against Palestinians. Why did
the Zionist terrorist attacks happen?
Because from their perspective, they were waging an anti-colonial struggle. They needed to get rid of the UK because the UK was the only significant obstacle to them creating the state that they wanted, because they knew they could beat the Palestinians. This was already true by the beginning of the 1930s. And again, there's a massive paper trail from the Zionists themselves on the ground. They knew that they could crush the Palestinians at any point, so Britain had to be driven out. And they proceeded to make the occupation extremely expensive for Britain through those kind of attacks. And especially after World War II, when you've just fought yourself to a standstill, you got to focus on trying to hold on to what's left of your empire. The places that are causing you more money, that are expensive, that you have to put more troops and police involved in, those are the ones they cut their losses and left on. This is a process that the Dutch, the French, the Brits all had to go through after World War II, was figuring out where to try and hold on to power and where to let go.
Okay.
And they decided pretty early on after World War II that they were not going to try and hold Palestine.
Okay. I totally disagree with that characterization, but I don't know where you want to go from this.
So I can learn from your point of view. Can you cite me sources where you're saying you disagree and that proves otherwise? Which book are you talking about? Or which
from
papers?
from 36 to 39. I know there was a bunch of fighting from Arabs that were protesting the massive intake of Jewish people into the mandatory area, but I'm pretty sure in response to all of that violence afterwards, Britain was the one that started to severely limit the Jewish immigration that went into. They limited the Jewish immigration, and I think they started embargoing because of all the violence that was happening there, because the Arab people were super ass mad and everything was like getting in that area. It was becoming untenable. And that eventually once they started to
you back up, you just explained this whole situation.
Hold on, stop. Why do you always have to back up to the Palestinian reason and we can't just speak from any particular point of view? I mean, we can go all the way back to 1880. I'm going to finish explaining this one section instead of you crying to go back to where the Palestinians are the good guys, okay? So from 36 to 39, there were Arab revolts. From 36 to 39, there were Arab revolts. And then in a response to those Arab revolts, the British started to lock down on Jewish immigration and embargo weapons and everything going into the Jews. And then the Jewish people started to revolt, I think from 40 to, it might have been all the way to 47. But for several years after that, there was that, the King Cross Hotel bombing or King David Hotel bombing or whatever. There was a bunch of terrorist attacks, especially from the Irgun and the Leahy against British troops. And then eventually Britain was like, you guys, we're leaving. This is all But the Jewish terrorist attacks against Britain weren't just random or happened because whatever reason you just gave, they wanted to get rid of the British because they were in between them and the Arabs.
Why then?
Because Britain was starting to limit the amount of Jews that were able to go into.
It was before that though, too.
No, I don't believe it. I don't. Okay.
Britain's limitations came in 1939.
Yes.
Attacks by Irgun against the Brits started years before that point.
What were some of the major reasons, or
go back almost?
You said there was there attacks?
I'm not going to
this why we go back because you're
not going back. You're not going to answer any of my questions. Just to be clear, I'll put these out here, and neither of you are going to answer these. Okay. My question was: are there any major attacks before 1939 from the Jewish people to Britain, and what were some of those attacks?
Yes.
Okay. I don't think you're going to answer either of those, but
yes. Okay. In fact, you just named one. The King David Hotel bombing was in 1937.
No, that was
years before migration.
No, I'm pretty sure that was 10 years later. I think that happened in either 44 or 45 or maybe 46.
No, 47. Yeah. So that one. No, I'm not talking about the limitation. Sorry, I'm just mixing it up with your discussion about why were they still trying not to? Why did they give up in 48?
Can we cite? We can pull them up. Can we cite? And you're of the mindset that there were no major attacks before 1939.
I don't think there were any major. I don't think there were any major Jew to British attacks that happened before 1940.
Now you got a major. So lynching British soldiers and hanging them from trees wouldn't be major then.
When did that happen, or who was doing that? What was that in response to?
Irgun did that.
Okay, so Irgun lynching British soldiers, Palestine.
How about the souk bombings? They were setting off bombs in crowded marketplaces in a territory that Britain was obligated to control in 1937.
Okay, what was that one called? So I looked up Night of the Beating. I see refers to an Irgun operation carried out in December 29th of 46.
1937 Irgun souk bombing, or marketplace bombing. They killed 80 people or so in a crowded marketplace in a terrorist attack.
In 37 or in 38?
37.
Are these look like attacks against Arabs?
I.e. citizens of the Mandate. They were literal citizens of the country.
But they were against Arabs, not against British troops.
List in 38 two British policemen were killed by a bomb train in Haifa.
Oh, you said in 38 2 British policemen were killed by a bomb in a train in Haifa?
Mm-hmm.
Why did you leave out the two Arabs right before that? I'm probably looking at the exact same thing you are. Why did you not just read that?
But you said they would. Sure, they can do both. Are you saying that your mindset is immediately the default that the Jewish people, they accidentally killed the two policemen, but they were targeting just the two Arabs?
That would be my guess, yes.
Why is that always your default? I don't understand.
It's not always my default. It's because up to that.
Show me evidence to support that.
I mean,
my understanding would be up to the. You're just going to scream over me. I'm not going to. The reason why I would assume this is because.
What Irgun was saying at the time. I mean, because Irgun did describe itself as fighting an anti-colonial struggle against the Brits. The only reason they stopped fighting during World War II was because the Brits were fighting the Nazis. So Lehi was formed as a splinter specifically because of that, so they could keep attacking the Brits during World War II. But that decision was made by the mid-30s.
Okay, then I'm just curious where all the attacks are against British people.